the
Well,
movie which has a director,
so I
present, so we
directed
could.
both of them. I directed
Oh, you've directed
Welcome
both of
Home,
them.
and yeah, Pearce and I both we co-directed Witch's Mess, and I solo directed Welcome Home.
Okay, well then we should screen both of them if that's
Go for
okay
it
with
if you,
you.
yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Then we should start right now because there's two movies, so that's about 20 something minutes. And then we will start the Q&A and we'll discuss about both of them. So I'll just have to refresh my tab so you can have sound. I'll be right back.
Mhm.
Okay. And now we'll start with The Witch's Mess.
Cool.
Let me just find it. Where is it? Where is it? Why is it not showing? Just a second. Oh, okay. Here we go. The Witch's Mess.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want to
Now,
chat about that one before we dive into the welcome home? Would that?
okay, sure. So it doesn't get confusing.
Yeah.
We can talk 10-15 minutes about this
Yeah, that might work.
movie. All right. So I would like to please introduce yourself and talk a bit about the movie from your perspective as being the director of it.
Yeah. So my name's Tim Goodwin. I co-directed The Witch's Mess with Pearce Hoskinson. Pearce and I started a film production company, Hired Goons, 4 years ago now. We shot that one maybe 3 years ago, so that was still quite early in our careers, and it started off pretty small. From memory, it was just two people in a room chatting, as most short films start. And we got a bit out of control, didn't we? It turned into that fairly. I mean, as far as production design is concerned, makeup and cast and everything, it turned into quite a big adventure. It was about a week-long shoot from memory. But I hadn't watched that for a while. I'm really, really proud of it. It's something that I think is a little bit weird and a little bit mundane, and yeah, that's one of the films that I'm most proud of. I don't know what else. What else can I tell you about it?
It's quite funny actually because we don't have so many comedies in the program, but this works so well because it has this gag, which starts from the title. I've seen it before it was selected, and I had to read it twice because you read so fast, you don't actually catch the little subtleties of it, because you say, okay, the witch's mass, okay, so it's probably a horror movie, but then you say, okay, wait, there's a typo there, and it says, oh, it's the witch's mess. Okay, so let's see how the witch messes it up. So actually, and she
that's
does.
Right. It's also that her home is a mess as well. It's her messy room.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it's quite because you've said it became a large production. It's quite authentic in its own genre of spoofing and not taking itself too serious, because there's a lot of work there in the props, in the makeup, and the way everything feels and looks. And how did you get all that together?
We just brought a lot of great people that we'd worked with before on smaller projects, or people that we wished we'd worked with. I found one of the best ways to get people to join a crew is to just write a really good script and then send them the script without asking them to join the crew, and just say, hey, can you read this? And if they read it and they love it, they will ask you to join the crew. So we've done that in the past with our cinematographers, the production designer Annie, who built this. I mean, filled that space. We sent her the script and said, "Hey, it's about a witch. It's got a crazy kind of witchy stuff in it, and I think you'd love it." And she was like, "I'm in. Let's just do this." So we actually found a castle in Brisbane, Australia, which doesn't exist because it was made out of what's it called, like wood and stuff. It was a fake castle. Australia doesn't have any castles like that because it's quite a young country. And this was a fake castle with a fake little hut at the back where an old man lived, and we asked if we could just use it for a week. So everything you see that's inside, we emptied the whole place out, and everything you see that's inside there, we filled. So all of the witch's cauldron, all of the skulls was actually a friend's skull collection. There's dog skulls and cat skulls and a kangaroo skull. They're all real skulls. The animals in the space was actually quite fun. We needed a frog. The joke of the movie is she turns it into a frog, and without a frog, we can't make the movie. So there's very strict laws in Australia about catching frogs, using frogs for films or for things like that, except for kids play things. You can hire someone to come with animals to kids' birthday parties and things like that, with frogs and snakes and crocodiles and things like that. And it was the same cost to have one frog or to have 2 frogs and a snake and an owl and a crocodile. So we're like, yeah, just bring all your animals. So that's how we got all those kind of weird animals in a few of the shots there, which made the space seem a little bit even weirder than before. The production design is the biggest part, and the makeup on the witch is like the actress who is the witch. I'm a good friends with. I saw her maybe 2 weeks ago, and she looks nothing like that. She doesn't have a big green nose. It's my favorite bit. It's great. Any other questions?
It's quite funny, the fact that, you know, this is sort of an anecdote which always accompanies movies, you know, because we needed like a frog, but then we ended up with a whole menagerie, a whole, you know, zoo.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, why not? Let's just put everything in. And as for The Witch, I really enjoyed, and I think maybe there's a bit of a reference there, you know, to give it the mood and maybe the twist in the end, because she obviously looks like the Wicked Witch of the East from Oz, but we all know that she's not. She wasn't a good character, actually. But you have this gag in the end where she doesn't realize the immensity of her and the consequences of her actions, and when she does, in the end, you know, she feels really bad about it, and then that saves her as a character, and it makes us feel bad for her, you know, for the fact that she's not that bad, actually. She's just, you know,
just got out of control.
Yeah.
It's like we added it on the shoot day. It wasn't in the script, but her line when she says, "Oh, I wish I didn't turn all those fucking people into frogs." That's the whole story. That's the whole point of the movie. And we figured, look, if you don't get it yet, here's a fun line that will explain everything to you. But she finally gets it, and it's almost like, I think what I like most about the universe is how long has she been doing this for? How long has she been turning people into frogs and just living her little world? And now it's kind of caught up with her, which, yeah, like you said, she's not a bad person, but she's done bad things. So yeah, she does feel remorse at the end.
And there's exactly this question, which is a rhetorical question as a viewer, you know, because maybe she's been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years, and you know, so many people have been turned into frogs and well, snakes and whatever. If there's please. Okay, if there are any questions before we move on to the next movie.
Yeah, I have a question for Tim.
Yeah, hit me.
Yeah, I will. I actually will, because you know, as I've treated Gillian to a few critical questions, I shouldn't allow you to get away with nothing less. So yeah, obviously. What I enjoyed most, apart from everything else Christy said, is that the witch had perfectly, absolutely white teeth. So everything about her was, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West. I think it was Christy, but her teeth, which are immaculate, completely immaculate, like, you know, freshly out of the dentist's office. So that was so funny, and I just couldn't take my eyes off from her glittering white teeth. But my only point of, you know, I'm going to transform this criticism into a question. Don't you think that the audience is a bit might be a bit confused about how first the I think it's inspection agent and town hall inspection agent, or what is she? Sanitary? Could you please remind me?
I'm not sure. Health inspector.
Okay, so the health inspectors, so obviously there's this disconnect between how we would normally react when we enter a typical, stereotypical witch's house with all the stereotypical cliche paraphernalia, if you might call it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there's this woman who seems to be completely oblivious that she's stepped inside a fairy tale.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's hard for me as a viewer to relate to her as a real person, not to the witch. The witch is a witch. She's doing her thing. She's what she should be. But to the other person who seems to be oblivious to what she's experiencing. Now, obviously, there's this potion. We all know what it is. We all know it's a potion. She takes it as tea. And I can't stop wondering in my mind what... Okay, if she's oblivious to this, then is it because she's coming from a completely different mythological universe, let's say, okay, in which the narratives in her universe do not include stereotypical cliched fairy tales with witches that are green and broomsticks and frogs and all that, or why? And then when it gets really serious, like it seems okay, or there's this another idea forming in my mind. Maybe this went with me for quite a long time. Maybe the woman is being very nice, very polite. Like she sees this woman is deranged. She likes to dress up. Her house looks like a... And she's just being very, very nice about it. You know, like I'm not going to tell her she's crazy. I'm not going to tell her she shouldn't be like this. Just doing my inspection, whatever. Please just keep it a nice house. I know you like to do these shenanigans. So, Tim, which one is it? I'm dying to find out what's inside the health inspections lady's mind.
I think her her obliviousness to the whole mess is where most of the comedy comes from. That in her mind, if it's not on the health inspection checklist, then it doesn't matter. As long as if she has a somewhere hair nets and she needs a smoke alarm and she needs a fire escape and she has those things, it's all good. And so I think her... But if you notice, all of the characters, all of the police officers and the detectives, no one really cares that she's a witch. No, everyone sees that she's green and has a big nose and a wart, but no one really cares. And I think we've always been a big fan of films which get something really, really boring and something really fantastic and then smush them together. One of my favorite films is The Incredibles, which is just about normal family life, but they have superpowers. And those sort of things, I think that's where comedy can come from. And I don't know if I have a good answer for you, but yeah, she just, you're right. She is super nice. She is very nice, but I think she's more concerned about doing a good job than picking on this poor witch who lives by herself.
Yeah, it never came to mind, and now that you say it, it actually makes more sense. And the fact that she's embracing diversity to such a large extent.
Yeah.
She's like in this sort of into a bit futuristic utopian society where diversity has become the norm in such an ultimate way that whatever we see, not only don't we judge it and point the finger, but we have learned to control our facial expressions to such an extent that nothing seems to surprise us anymore. We don't react to anything that's different. We are like embracing diversity to the fullest. Sure, you're a witch, you're ugly, but like ugly witch.
Yeah.
Be whatever you want, as long as you respect town regulations, then you're fine.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that.
That's right.
Awesome.
Do you
Cristi,
guys
back
have
to
any
you.
other questions about how it was made or written or anything like that?
I think we should go on to the next movie, because that's about 10 minutes long as well, and then we should talk about that one, which is a science fiction movie. So I will do the same thing. I'll just have to refresh, and then I will start streaming it and screaming it at the same time.
Screaming it, super, yeah, okay. Here we go.
All right, so we're back, and I believe this was excellent. A very well told story,
I can't hear
science
anyone,
fiction.
I think I've...
Can you hear us?
Okay, sorry. Okay, if anyone said anything, I couldn't hear you. Fixed it.
So can you hear us now?
Yes, I've got you now. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So I thoroughly enjoyed this short movie because I believe it's so well made, and it's it's like a roller coaster of emotions, and it goes from being really funny to being personal and intimate, and then going back, but in such a natural way, to becoming to being a comedy. And I think that works perfectly, and I really enjoy the fact in balance with your other movie, which is Mess, how well you can transition from sort of a fantasy story to a science fiction story. So there you have the witch's mess, and everything is a mess, and it looks messy, and it looks that sort of a way that it should look. Now you've transitioned to science fiction, and everything is clean and sterile and almost lifeless and futuristic. And I think that's actually great directorial vision, to reflect the sort of a story you are trying to tell through great choreography and visual mediums. And I also enjoyed the actor. I think his reactions are spot on. He can actually, he's very good at reacting to all that silly nonsense the robot is pre-ordered to say, that psychoanalysis, bullshit, but which seems to work in a certain way in the end. I would like to ask you to say a few words about this movie, how the idea came up. And how did the production go?
Sure. Hey, thank you so much for those kind words. I really, really appreciate that that you enjoyed it. Makes me feel very warm and fuzzy and happy that you guys really liked that. I wrote it. Well, we filmed it during COVID-19 last year. So right when we were kind of in a lockdown, I started to write it, and when we came out of lockdown for a couple of months, we got a crew together and filmed it. So you're right, watching those two films next to each other is almost the opposite end of the spectrum. So if you notice in Welcome Home, we don't move the camera at all. They're all locked off and static shots to feel like they're security cameras, but not be, kind of a wide angle or a high sort of thing, but to have it very locked off. And the space, like you said, it's very clean and very empty, and that's because his girlfriend has left him, I think, for 4 weeks or a month or whatever she says. So there's actually hooks on the wall where paintings have been taken away, and there's less furniture. There's no dining table. He eats on the couch because that was her dining table and she took it with him. And if you see in the wardrobe, all of his clothes are on one side and the rest is empty. So it's still quite fresh for him. And I think the idea didn't start as an emotional story, but started as the thought that technology is fantastic. It's obviously phones and the internet is really good for us, but we let it be bad for us. We let ourselves be addicted to social media and watch too much TV or all those things. So I think we need to find a healthy balance between letting the robots help us, but also taking our own kind of self-improvement into our own hands and that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks so much for saying that it's a comedy. It kind of started as a comedy and it turned a bit more emotional and then lightened the tension a little bit at the end. So at the end of the day, I really hope that I think I had a few mates of mine who had gone through rough breakups, and I wanted a kind of nice message that wasn't like, oh, you should call her, because that's never a good idea, but a nice message of kind of future focused and and something that we can all, maybe we've all been through it, and maybe a bit of advice for anyone who's going to go through it soon. Yeah, that makes me feel really nice that you guys liked it. So thank you, Cristian.
No, I mean it, and I really enjoy the fact that, because you've said, that his girlfriend leaves and takes a bunch of stuff with her, and it's sort of the apartment is empty, and there's obviously a presence missing, and there's stuff missing, and that maybe, for the emotional part of the movie, the more tension and the more dramatic, it's sort of symmetries with himself. And the fact that he is empty underneath, and he is missing his girlfriend and all the things she took with her after she left, and he's trying, to sort of fill that gap with this AI. And this is my question for you, because it's not clear. So she makes puns. She has some sort of, comedic program there, but it's not actually. Is she an artificial intelligence in the sense that we perceive it in science fiction? So is she self-aware? Is it that sort of an AI, or is it just the type of Alexa which has, a bunch of algorithms that can answer questions?
I'd say that it would be Alexa or Siri, but maybe 5 years or 10 years in the future, where it's a bit more advanced and it's done a bit more. Like you said, a bit more kind of psychotherapy can kind of help you through things. But no, it's not self-aware. But I remember myself and Bronte Pearce, who did the voice of we just call it Home. We went through each line and kind of figured out, well, what's the robot? How has she come to the conclusion of this is the best thing to say right now? And so simple things like when he says, I don't need your help, and she starts saying, okay, well, when's your rent due and what day is it today? That's a program of like, okay, well, let's test him, let's quiz him. My user says he doesn't need help, let's run a quick test, and if he passes, then I'll leave him alone. But he fails because he actually does need help. So and even like you mentioned, the therapy things that she rattles off that annoy him really do work, and she knows when to push and she knows when to kind of let go a little bit. And a fun little Easter egg, right at the beginning, there's a bunch of code that comes up on the screen. My brother-in-law wrote that, or helped us write it. And right at the beginning, she says, it says something about Peter's on his way home now, disconnect communication with Melanie's home unit. So the two robots were just having a friendly chat just before he walked in the door. So it was on her mind almost, like it's time to bring it up with him. But yeah, I think she's not quite self-aware, but definitely a bit more helpful than Alexa is.
But she might be in the end, because she gets a bit clingy, and then that's a bit scary. Seeing AI is becoming so sort of emotional, even if it's just at that time in the future where the movie happens. They're not entirely self-aware. I would like to ask if there are any questions from the public, or maybe comments on the movie.
So that's how reporters do when the timing is not right. So okay,
we are live.
Tim, I'd like to congratulate you. This is a nearly perfect movie. I mean, I wouldn't say perfect, because
thank you.
You'd consider it to be, I don't know, just too lavish, but it is an excellent short movie. I think it's masterclass. What makes it so good, first of all, is you've been so careful to details, and it shows. The lighting is excellent in the whole movie. It just perfectly captures the mood, the atmosphere, how he's feeling, everything. In terms of technical things, most people don't notice. These are spot on. Moreover, it's I don't like Christy's question, because Christy's question sort of limits the mystery behind it. Not that I don't like his question. I wouldn't like to think those terms, because that's complicated science, and in order for a robot, an artificial intelligence, to do what your home, let's say, device does, it would take so much more than 10 years, and it's not just a bit more advanced Alexa. It's really tough to initiate conversation with another bot and actually start gossiping.
Yeah.
You see, artificial intelligence is very bad at reading context, and this is something like scientifically proven. If you read especially Steven Pinker's books on that, and it's wonderful what the cognitive psychologist can tell you about how important context is to the mind, and how little of context robots understand, from the input. Now, the wonderful thing is that you feel that the robot is a friend. It's like that friend, obviously never gonna have a relationship, but she does things like tease him and try to gossip and see, well, maybe Melanie would still come, but no, actually she wouldn't. The fact that she realizes that it was an empty, meaningless relationship in which he was just being in a comfort zone, all of these things, and the fact that we could at one point develop such a level of artificial intelligence that could actually recognize context and interpret it in such a way that they become more than just our regular best friends. They know more about us because they also have access. So what makes it a super best friend is that it has access to two things. One is context, like good or best friends have. We know that our friends are like this and like that, and they suffer that problem. But it also has access to statistics and scientific data about you that no friend has. Nobody has. So they cannot make these assumptions or deduce that you've had too much beer because you've watched too much television because, and here are the data, and if you continue like this, you'll end. This is an incredibly witty amalgamation of both a best friend and your personal doctor who has the best devices around. And the fact that we might at one point end up having these personal, what would you call them? Personal assistants, right? That's what you call them, personal assistants. Makes you feel like, whoa, never thought about that. Is this actually a very original idea? We can have this voice. It's almost like a little angel, You shouldn't do that. That's the famous mythical angel on one's shoulder that says, don't drink and drive, don't go back to that woman, she's nothing but trouble. But she's coming with hard data and facts.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, Tim. I've really
thank you so much.
Blown by this movie. It's wonderful by this short.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
We did. I did think a lot of depth. I think it's something that's maybe achievable. I didn't want it to feel too science fiction-y. I wanted to feel a bit more science like fact. It's a weird word, but a bit more grounded. And maybe it's possible in the future. I'm not sure. I don't think there was a question in there, but thanks so much for the kind words, Alex. You're really sweet.
All right. So thank you very much.
I just thought,
yes, please.
A technical. As far as technical, how we made it. A couple of challenges we had, which you might not have picked up on. All of the home unit things were CGI. So we had markers on the walls, and it's just a simple, because the camera's locked off, it's fairly straightforward as far as putting it into the space. But we used those mirror balls to make sure the light was the same in the space. And then just had to animate some shadows and things going over the top. So all of the home units were CGI, which for the longest time we couldn't figure out a very clean way to make the device in the space. Like with Witch's Mess, we can kind of have it a little bit crappy and that's okay, but this needed to be perfect. Like Apple designed this perfect little circle. So in the end of the day, we're like, let's try CGI. And we haven't really done much CGI before. And I think Pearce did all that, and I think he absolutely knocked it out of the park. The other little challenge we had, if you see a lot of the shots are facing out to a black night sky, like a cityscape. So obviously on the day you could see all of the crew and the cameras and the lights and everything in that window. So that took a little bit of trickery with using some black capes and stuff and getting some plates, just filming nothing for a few minutes and using that as background and painting some stuff out. So as far as the visual effects side of it, this is a bit more technical in the post-production that we've ever had before, including the sound design. So the score, I'm blown away by it. Michael Drew did the score for us, and he's an absolute genius. But if the robot's voice, it's quite a little bit distorted. When she's a bit more robot-y, it's more distorted. When she's just saying the data, it's kind of a bit janky. But when she's calm and when she's emotional, it becomes a bit more human. So we kind of, as the story kind of weaves, it changes as well. So the score changes and her voice changes, and so does the main character, Peter. So yeah, I'm really, really proud of the film, and I'm really stoked that you guys loved it. And yeah, maybe it means I'm just going to have to keep making things like this. We are working on a feature film in the meantime. So that's in pre-production at the moment. We're going to shoot it next year. And if anyone here wants to watch more stuff from Hired Goons, we do have a YouTube channel. If you look up Hired Goons and then skip past the Simpsons ones, because that's where we got our name from, you'll find our YouTube channel with dozens of little short films and stupid shit we've made. So yeah, thanks so much for having me here, guys. I'm absolutely blessed and really grateful that you've selected my films.
That's excellent. And well, first of all, please leave a link in the
how do I do that?
Text. So just above the program, when there's that hashtag program, there's a text chat, and then please leave the link there. And also, I would like to congratulate you, and we'll be sure to watch your movie, and especially your feature film, because it's amazing. It's quite amazing to see how much attention to detail, to all these sorts of little things that are not perceivable, but as the one critic says, you might not see it, but your brain does. So
yeah, I like that.
It makes for a great story in the end, even if we can't thoroughly explain what makes it so great. The feel, the atmosphere, the way it's built. Alex, you want to say something?
Yeah, to paraphrase another critic, another famous one said, "When I eat soup, I don't want to see the bones, the beef soup. I don't want to see the bones from which it was made, but I want to feel them when I eat them." So that's the exact feeling. Actually, Tolkien said that. Tim, one last question, very short yes or no question. Did you think about HAL 9000 as you were designing the camera angles for your film, in famous HAL 9000 from the Space Odyssey?
The eyeball, yes, definitely. the little single little thing watching everything, yes. Absolutely.
It's powerful.
I don't know if you can make a science fiction film and not think about 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's how influential that film was.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for sending us these movies and giving us the opportunity to see them. And thank you so much for coming and sharing this discussion with us. It's been remarkable, I would say. And to everyone,
absolutely my pleasure.
Please follow Tim Goodwin for further content and be amazed at the things he does.
Look, I'll put it in the program notes thing now with our website and our YouTube channel. There's heaps of, if you like that sort of thing. Yeah, we got a lot, so I think you'll enjoy it.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night, guys. Oh, day. You guys are in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
here.
It's 9 p.m. here.
Well,
thanks, guys. All the best.
Oh, have fun in the land down under, mate.
Yeah, I always
do. Is it pronounced? Bye.